Night does not arrive in the desert the way it does in the city. It does not switch on like a lamp or fall all at once like a curtain. It settles slowly like a shawl being placed around your shoulders, one soft fold after another, until even the horizon seems to breathe more quietly. Somewhere beyond the last low houses, beyond the last streetlight that forgets itself and flickers out, the dunes begin. And the dunes, patient as old prayers, hold their shape under the widening sky. If you're listening from a busy place, an apartment where the day still hums in the walls, a bedroom where your thoughts keep pacing, I want you to imagine this. A twilight path at Saqqara, where the sand is fine as flour and cool at the surface. The air carries that dry, clean scent of stone that has been warmed by sunlight for hours and is now letting go, little by little, of the heat. A distant dog barks once, then twice. Then the sound drifts away, as if it too has decided to rest. We walk slowly, you and I. Not as tourists, not as detectives racing toward a conclusion, but as gentle guests in a wide, ancient quiet. The step pyramid stands ahead like a calm silhouette, a staircase that never needed to reach anywhere else but the sky. Its edges are softened by time, yet it still feels deliberate, like someone long ago placed it here with a steady hand, and then simply trusted it to endure. There is a particular kind of peace that comes from being near something that is older than your worries. So let your shoulders drop a fraction. Let your jaw unclench. If it helps, take a slow breath in through the nose and a softer breath out as if you're fogging a window. Nothing to solve, nothing to prove. Tonight we're only listening. And still, the desert has a way of planting a small seed of wonder in the quietest moment. If each grain of sand is a breath of the desert, what secrets lie dormant beneath? The first hint is not a loud mystery. It is a simple image, almost tender, a beam of weak light gliding across stone, and for a second the stone returns it, an answering shimmer like moonlight on still water. Somewhere under this plateau, beneath layers of dust and limestone and forgotten footsteps, there are corridors where the air stays cool and the silence has been collecting for thousands of years. People once dug there, people once carried things there, and then they left, and the sand resumed its patient work, covering entrances, softening tracks, making the world smooth again. Imagine, for a moment, that you are holding a single small object, something that fits in both hands. It is a stone vessel carved long ago. Its surface is smooth where your fingers rest, and the curve is so even it feels as if it belongs to nature. It is cool, not cold. It has the weight of certainty. If you tip it slightly, you can almost believe you hear the quiet echo of a workshop, a rhythm of scraping, a pause, a breath, then the rhythm again, not hurried, not forced, just patient. There are places in Egypt where thousands upon thousands of such vessels were found, resting together in the dark like a sleeping library. Rows and stacks, shapes nested within shapes, some made of softer stone, some of harder stone that resists the modern hand as much as it resisted the ancient one. The thought of them, so many, doesn't have to wake you with numbers. Let it soothe you with an idea instead, that once human beings put their attention into small things the way we now put it into screens. They made patience visible, they made steadiness something you could touch. And when you think of it like that, it becomes less about a puzzle and more about a feeling, the feeling of craft as devotion. We keep walking. The twilight cools into early night. Above us, the first stars appear, faint pinpricks at first, then more, as if the sky is slowly remembering how to shine. You might notice how your own breathing begins to match the spaciousness overhead. In the desert, the night sky doesn't crowd you, it opens, Somewhere nearby, a guide might tell you that under the step pyramid are tunnels. They might call them galleries or storage chambers or simply the underground. But words can't quite capture what it means to descend into rock that has held its darkness since before most of the world's stories were written down. So I will describe it gently. The entrance is modest, a cut-in stone, a doorway that looks almost ordinary until you understand where it leads. We step down. The temperature changes immediately, the way it changes when you enter a quiet building after walking in sunlight. The sound of the outside world fades. Your footfalls become softer, and then softer still, until they feel like thoughts you don't need to finish. The walls around us are limestone, pale and calm, and there is the faintest smell of mineral dust. Not unpleasant, just honest. Our light is small and it moves like a slow wave across the surfaces, revealing and then releasing the details. In some chambers, there are shelves cut into the rock. In others, niches, and in the mind's eye you can place the vessels there again, as they once were, bowls and jars and elegant forms with narrow necks and rounded bellies, each one a small world of balance. Perhaps they were offerings, perhaps they were containers, perhaps they were simply treasures of beauty stored in a place that felt safe. When we sit with the image long enough, we can feel why such a place would exist. Not for drama, not for spectacle, for preservation, for keeping, for honoring the slow work that makes a thing last. Tonight, you don't need to decide what every object meant. You only need to notice what the objects do to the room inside you. They ask your mind to become smooth. They invite your heart to become quiet. And then, a little deeper in the story, another doorway opens. Not far from Saqqara, still under this same kind of desert, there is a long subterranean passage where enormous stone boxes rest in side chambers like sleepers in alcoves. Even imagining them, you can feel their presence, heavy, cool, firm, settled. Granite that holds the memory of mountains. Lids that meet bases with a closeness that seems almost affectionate. Stone resting against stone with no hurry to separate again. People have argued about these boxes. Some call them sarcophagi. Some call them something else. Tonight, we won't raise our voices on either side. We will let the quiet be the authority. We will simply picture what it is like to stand in such a tunnel with a small light, watching the beam drift over polished surfaces that flash briefly and then soften back into shadow. If you have ever felt comfort in a well-made room, where doors close gently, where floors are level, where nothing rattles, then you know the comfort of things that fit. The mind relaxes when the world feels aligned. There is a subtle safety in precision, not because it proves something, but because it reassures the nervous system. Here, the edges are known. Here, the joints meet. Here, the chaos is held at bay. Maybe that is part of the reason these places feel so strangely soothing, even as they remain mysterious. Outside, the desert wind moves across the plateau. Down here, the air barely stirs, and the stillness has a texture. It is thick but not heavy. It is like the silence in a museum late at night, when you can almost sense the objects continuing to exist without needing anyone to look at them. In that kind of silence, your own thoughts begin to simplify. They stop racing in loops. They start to drift in longer lines, like clouds moving across a wide sky. So let me say this softly, as if I'm speaking close to your ear in a darkened room. You do not have to carry every question tonight. You can set some of them down the way you might set down a bag after a long day. The stones will hold their secrets. The desert will keep its breath, and only you are allowed to rest. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Ancient Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. Now imagine we continue, deeper but not faster. We follow a corridor where the ceiling lowers slightly, encouraging a natural hush. The beam of light narrows and the shadows become soft and velvety along the floor. Somewhere ahead, the passage bends, and for a moment, we cannot see what is waiting beyond the turn. Not a threat, never a threat, only another room of stone, another pocket of night. And that is the gentle cliff edge I'd like to leave you on for now. A curved tunnel, a slow footstep, and a faint gleam ahead, as if something polished is catching the smallest hint of our light. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. If your eyes feel heavy, let them be heavy. If your hands are warm under the blanket, notice that warmth. If your thoughts return to tomorrow, let them float away, like dust in a sunbeam, and settle softly. We will turn the corner together, very slowly. We turn the corner the way you might turn a page in a beloved book, slowly, with no urgency to arrive at the ending. The corridor curves and our small light follows it, gliding over limestone that looks pale and calm, like a sleeping shoreline. The air is cooler here and steadier. It carries the faint scent of old stone, dry, mineral, clean, like the inside of a cave that has been quietly breathing for a very long time. If you are listening in bed, let that coolness be imaginary relief. Picture it moving across your forehead, smoothing out the last tight lines of the day. Let your shoulders soften again, the corridor teaching rest. Down here, the desert feels far away. The sand is still above us, of course, layered and patient, yet the world has changed. The sounds are smaller. Even your thoughts seem to step more carefully. Our footsteps are gentle, and the echo that answers them is not sharp. It is rounded, like a pebble worn smooth by water. The beam of light drifts along the wall and finds now and then a seam where blocks meet. The joints are quiet and sure, made to fit without complaint. There is something comforting about that, about the way one stone trusts another stone to hold steady. In the city, so much wiggles and vibrates and demands attention. Here, the only movement is the slow movement of our light and the slow movement of breath. Now and then, you might imagine a niche opening beside us, a shallow recess carved into the rock, a place to set a lamp, a place to place an object with care, a place where someone long ago paused, perhaps to wipe dust from their hands, perhaps to listen to the same silence we hear now. We do not hurry past these pauses. We let them be what they are, small pockets of stillness like rests in a piece of music. The longer you linger here, the more your mind begins to match the tempo. Not fast, not strained, just steady. Somewhere beneath Saqqara's plateau, there are storerooms that once held a sea of stone vessels. It is easy to imagine them again, not as a statistic, but as a soft pattern, rounded shapes resting in rows, their surfaces catching a faint glimmer when the light passes. Think of them as the desert's own quiet shelf, orderly, calm, almost domestic, as if the ancient world also loved the comfort of things neatly placed. If your mind tries to argue, how did they do it? Why so many? You can let the questions be like moths fluttering near a lamp. Notice them, and then let them drift away. Tonight is not for solving. Tonight is for floating. And as the tunnel extends, it begins to guide us toward another underworld, another kind of quiet chamber, one that travelers describe in hushed voices as if the stone itself is listening. The Serapeum. Even the name has a slow weight to it. It tastes like an old word carried forward from mouth to mouth over centuries, softened at the edges. The place is not open and airy. It is close, enclosed, intentional, like a long, dim hallway inside the earth. Imagine the ceiling lower than you expect, pressing the air into a gentle stillness. Imagine the floor under your feet cool and level, inviting a careful step. Our light slides forward and the shadows fold back. On either side, openings appear, side chambers like alcoves along a nave. And in those alcoves, shapes that do not move. Granite, dark, dense, ancient, stone that once slept inside mountains. You can feel it before you touch it, the way you can feel a large ship's presence even when it is still at the dock. The air near granite seems different, slightly cooler, slightly heavier, as if the stone has gathered the night and stored it. In one alcove, there is a box, massive, rectangular, calm. Its surfaces are smoother than you would expect, as if someone long ago asked the stone to become water for a while, and the stone agreed. Our light moves over it in a slow sweep. The granite answers with a brief sheen, then returns to matte darkness. Notice how your body responds. The mind likes edges, but the body likes safety. And there is something safe in a thing that sits so steadily. The box does not wobble, it does not shift. It simply rests, as if it has been resting forever and will continue to rest long after we are gone. If you imagine reaching out, you might feel the stone's coolness against your fingertips, not icy, just calm. A kind of temperature that says, I am not in a hurry, you do not need to be either. There may be a lid fitted to the base in a way that feels surprisingly intimate, stone meeting stone with a closeness that leaves little room for noise. Many people, standing here, feel the same quiet astonishment, not a shock, not a jolt, but a gentle widening of the heart. The kind of feeling you get when you see a perfectly placed stepping stone across a stream, and you know someone took time to make it right. And perhaps that is the soft lesson of these chambers. Time can be used kindly. Time can be shaped into steadiness. Human hands can learn to speak a language of patience. If you've lived long enough to know the difference between rushed work and careful work, you know how rare careful work can feel. It is a gift, whether it's a meal made slowly, a letter written thoughtfully, or a simple room arranged with love. Down here, the careful work is stone, and it has lasted. We let the beam of light continue its slow wandering. It touches the corners, the edges, the faint marks that remain. Subtle traces, not declarations. The story of the Serapeum does not have to be a debate. It can be a lullaby of craftsmanship and quiet ritual. Somewhere above us, the desert wind is still moving, but here the air is almost unmoving, as if it is holding its breath in respect. Take a slow breath now if you'd like, in and out, and let your exhale be slightly longer, as if you're letting the day slide off your skin. Now, very gently, we will allow the story to rise back toward the surface for a moment, not to wake you, but to let you float on a softer current. Because if you look at a granite box in the underworld, you might begin to wonder about the world above it, the world of daylight, water, and ordinary human life. Not the life of kings carved in gold, but the life of workers who baked bread, shared beer, told jokes, and fell asleep with sore hands. In the ancient lands along the Nile, days were shaped by the river's moods. When the water rose, it brought fertile silt and a renewed promise. When it fell, it revealed the edges of fields and the paths of travel. Imagine a small boat at dusk, its wooden planks creaking softly, its sails slack in the evening's easing wind. The water carries a reflection of the sky, and the sky carries the first stars. The boat glides without hurry, and along that flow, stones move too, slowly, carefully, with the help of human coordination and simple wisdom. People learned that wetting sand could make heavy loads slide more smoothly. It is such a tender detail, almost domestic. A splash of water, a little darkening of the ground, and the burden becomes lighter. No magic needed, just attention and a willingness to notice what the world is already offering. When we think of ancient building, we often imagine only monuments. But a monument is built from mornings and meals, from calloused palms and shared laughter, from bread baked in clay ovens and beer poured into cups, from songs hummed under breath to keep a pace steady. And that is a gentle way to hold this story. Not as a riddle of stone, but as a portrait of human continuity. The people who walked these sands long ago were not so different from you. They carried fatigue. They carried hope. They carried the small ache of living and the small sweetness too. Sometimes in the night our worries try to convince us that we are alone with our thoughts, alone with the weight of tomorrow. But history offers a different whisper. Across time, many hearts have felt the same things. Many eyes have stared into darkness and wished for peace. Here, in the imagined cool corridor beneath Saqqara, we do not rush away from the questions. We simply place them gently on the stone like an offering, and we let them rest. And as we stand beside the granite box, a quieter curiosity begins to bloom, not a frantic need to know, but a soft desire to understand. What were these chambers meant to hold? Not just objects, but meaning, not just bodies, but memory, not just stone, but a message to the future. We were here, we cared, we made something careful, and we trusted time to carry it forward. Our light pauses on the seam where lid meets base. The line is fine, calm, almost invisible in the dark. The fit is so close that the boundary feels more like a breath than a gap. We will follow that breath deeper in the next part, toward a room where sound behaves strangely, where stone seems to listen back, and where silence can become a kind of music. For now, let the corridor hold you. Let the granite's cool steadiness soothe you. Let your eyelids grow heavier if they wish. We are safe here. We are slow here. And the night is wide enough for all of us to rest. We stay beside the granite a little longer, not because we need more answers, but because the body recognizes steadiness when it finds it. The cool air in the passage feels like a hand laid gently on the back of your neck, reminding you to soften. The light in our palm is small and it moves slowly like a lullaby that has learned how to glow. Then, with no drama at all, we begin to walk back. The Serapeum does not chase us. The stone does not demand attention. It simply allows us to pass, the way an old library allows a reader to leave with a calmer mind. Our footsteps return along the tunnel, quiet and measured. Each breath feels a little deeper than before. When we reach the entrance, the first hint of open air arrives like a faint sweetness. The temperature lifts a little. The smell changes, less mineral, more wind. And then at last, we emerge under the night sky. Above Saqqara, the stars are not shy. They scatter across the dark like grains of salt spilled on velvet. The step pyramid sits nearby, its silhouette layered and still, as if it has been listening to the same sky for an eternity. A thin moon hangs off to one side, bright enough to silver the edges of distant dunes. If you're lying in bed, let your own ceiling become that sky for a moment. Let the darkness above you feel spacious rather than close. Imagine the air of the desert night, dry, cool, clean, moving gently through you on each inhale and leaving you lighter on each exhale. We turn our gaze away from the pyramid and toward the river that made these lands possible. The Nile, even when you cannot see it from here, seems to exist as a presence in the imagination, like a long, patient ribbon of water running through a world of sand. In the ancient seasons, its rise and fall were not just weather. They were a calendar, a promise, a pulse. When the flood came, it laid dark silt on the fields like a blessing. When it receded, it left behind paths, edges, and the quiet work of planting again. And at night, the river becomes something else, a mirror that holds the sky. Picture a small boat drifting along the Nile under moonlight. The water is calm, but never perfectly still. It moves with a slow confidence, as if it knows the way, even in darkness. The oars dip in and out with a soft rhythm. A wooden hull creaks once, then settles. Somewhere on the bank, reeds whisper together. If each oar stroke is a heartbeat of the river, what memories does the water carry between those beats? On the boat, there are no loud voices. There is the simple human comfort of shared silence. Perhaps a worker rests with his back against a bundle of rope. Perhaps a boatman watches the stars and judges the current by instinct more than thought. Perhaps someone has tucked bread in a cloth, flat loaves baked in a clay oven, still faintly warm when the day ends, their scent earthy and reassuring. These are the details that make the monuments feel human. Not because they reduce the wonder, but because they soften it. They remind us that the past was lived one ordinary evening at a time. As the boat glides, the shoreline changes subtly, palms and low villages, then wider stretches of open land. The night air cools the skin, the sky's reflection shimmers on the water in broken pieces like a slow-moving mosaic. In the far south, near Aswan, the landscape becomes rocky and bright, even in the dark. Granite lies there in great bodies, older than the stories told along the riverbanks. In daylight, quarries would ring with the dull, steady sound of stone being persuaded, never rushed, always repeated. Not with explosions or chaos, but with persistence. Strike, pause, strike, pause. The kind of rhythm that, if you listened long enough, might begin to sound like breathing. Imagine standing at the edge of such a quarry in the early morning before the heat arrives, the ground is cool, fine dust coats the ankles, the stone face shows marks of work, but not violence, more like the marks on a well-used wooden table. Nearby, tools rest, hard stones used to pound and shape, ropes coiled like sleeping snakes, wooden levers waiting quietly. In this image, labor is not a battle, it is a practice. Now bring that image back into the night and let it fade into softness. We don't need the brightness of day to feel its truth. The river and the quarry belong to the same gentle system, water carrying, stone waiting, hands learning. From Aswan, in the mind's journey, we drift north again. We let the Nile do what it has always done, carry. Not just cargo, but continuity. Some nights the river would have carried granite blocks toward Giza. Other nights it carried food, reeds, pottery, letters, songs. The river did not care which, it held them all with the same calm generosity. And then, under a different stretch of sky, the plateau of Giza appears. Not in the way it appears in bright travel photos, no crowds, no glare, no sharp outlines, but as a wide, quiet shape in the dark. The desert wind moves across it with a steady hush, and the three pyramids sit there as if they are part of the horizon itself. From a distance, they do not feel like a challenge. They feel like a promise. It's easy to imagine the builders only as anonymous figures beneath a monument's shadow. But the earth remembers different details too. Small places where people ate, slept, laughed, argued gently, made plans and grew tired. There were worker communities near Giza not as a rumor, but as a lived necessity. Bakeries, storage rooms, streets worn by feet. Think of a simple courtyard at dusk. A clay oven glows softly. Someone pulls bread from the heat, and the air fills with warmth you can almost taste. Nearby, jars of beer, thick, nourishing, more like liquid bread than modern drink, are shared after a long day. A joke is told, a smile answers. A child runs past with quick steps, then slows as night settles in. The pyramid above them is immense, yes, but the human world below it is intimate, and that intimacy is what makes the immensity bearable. If you could watch one day of work without any strain in your own body, you might see how much of it was simply rhythm. A sled on dampened sand, a rope tightening, then relaxing, a line of shoulders leaning together, not in panic, but in coordination. Someone pours a thin stream of water ahead of the runners and the grains darken, becoming smoother, more willing. The load moves with less complaint. And in that small, practical kindness, water on sand, you can feel an entire philosophy: make the path gentle. In the evening, when the sky cools and the heat unhooks itself from the ground, those same workers would return to the village. Sand would be shaken from sandals. Hands would be rinsed in basins. Someone might rub oil into sore wrists. Someone might sit quietly, staring at the last band of orange near the horizon, letting the day drain away. Then the night would do what night always does. It would gather people into softer versions of themselves. Lamps would glow low. Voices would drop. The smell of bread would linger in hair and cloth. A simple mat on the floor would feel like a blessing. And the Great Pyramid, rising in the dark beyond the rooftops, would feel less like a command and more like a guardian, silent, steady, watching over sleep. If you have ever finished a hard day and felt the relief of a simple meal, you already understand the ancient evening. The scale changes, but the heart does not. We walk, in imagination, along the edge of the plateau. The stones underfoot are cool. The wind is dry and gentle, like a hand brushing dust from a sleeve. The sky is crowded with stars, and you might notice how naturally the mind wants to align itself with them. How looking up makes your thoughts less tangled. Here, the builders once aligned their work too, not in a way that demands argument tonight, but in a way that suggests reverence. They cared about direction. They cared about order. They placed their structures into the world as if the world itself had a pattern worth honoring. And maybe that is the soft discovery of this part of the journey. The past was not only heavy stone. It was also a search for harmony. When your own life feels noisy, deadlines, messages, errands that multiply like sand, harmony can feel far away. But the night sky doesn't scold you for losing it. It simply offers it again, patiently. So let's borrow a little of that patience now. Even now, as you listen, you can practice the same gentleness. Let your tongue rest against the roof of your mouth. Let the space between your eyebrows soften. Imagine the desert wind counting your breaths, 1, 2, and with each number, a little more weight leaves your chest tonight. Let your breathing become the river, steady, unforced, carrying you without struggle. Let your thoughts become the boat, drifting, not gripping. Let your body become the granite, grounded, cool, and safe. Here, no one rests alone. Every quiet step across ancient ground is a reminder that countless people before you also wished for peace at the end of the day. In the next part, we will step closer to the pyramid's shadow and listen to how stone can shape sound, how a chamber can hold a low, gentle resonance, like a hum that never learned to hurry. But for now, stay with the river. Stay with the bread warmth. Stay with the night wind. And if you'd like, answer softly in your own mind. If you could leave one careful thing behind for the future, what would it be? The river stays with us even when we leave it. It lingers like a calm aftertaste, like a steady note that continues in the chest long after a song ends. And so, as we drift from the banks of the Nile back toward the plateau of Giza, we do not feel pulled, we feel carried. The night air is dry and gentle. It moves across the broad limestone ground with a soft, steady hush, the way a tide moves across a sleeping shoreline. The pyramids rise ahead, three calm shapes under a sky that seems deeper here, as if the desert makes more room for the stars. If you've been listening for a while, you may notice something quiet inside yourself, that the day is farther away, not gone perhaps, but farther, like a city seen from a distant hill. The edges of your worries are less sharp. The body has begun to accept that this moment is safe. We walk slowly, as always. There is no rush in our footsteps, no need to arrive at any particular conclusion. The ground beneath us is cool, and occasionally a small stone shifts and then settles. Even that tiny sound feels softened by the open air, absorbed by the vastness. The Great Pyramid stands in front of us now, immense and quiet. In daylight, it can feel like an object of analysis, angles, measurements, theories. But at night, it becomes something more tender, a presence, a dark mountain made by human hands, resting under starlight. Imagine placing your palm against one of its limestone blocks. The surface is rougher than you might expect, textured by time. Your skin feels the grain, the small pits, the unevenness. The stone is cool and your hand warms it slightly, creating a small meeting place between present and ancient past. Somewhere inside, rooms and passages run like veins through the body of the pyramid, and inside those rooms, sound behaves differently. This is a gentle kind of wonder, the kind that does not wake you up, but invites you to lean closer. We will not descend into every corridor tonight. We will choose one small experience, one quiet chamber, and let it teach us something about stillness. Picture a passageway that narrows and then opens. The air changes as you move inward. Outside, the wind can roam. Inside, it becomes quieter, held. The light in our hand brightens the nearest stones and leaves the distance in soft darkness. Your footsteps sound different now, smaller, more contained, as if the walls are gently catching them. Then we arrive in a chamber. It does not need to be described with sharp geometry. Let it be described as a feeling, a room made of stone that has been waiting. A room where the air has a cool, faintly sweet dryness. A room where your own breath sounds louder than you expect, not because it is loud, but because everything else is so quiet. You stand still, and you notice a strange comfort, the sense that the room is listening. If you speak in a whisper, the whisper returns to you softly, rounded by the surfaces. If you hum a low note, just a simple sound, not a performance, the stone carries it. It doesn't amplify it in a harsh way. It holds it briefly and then lets it fade. The effect is subtle, gentle, like the way a tiled bathroom in your home might make your voice seem different, but deeper and calmer. Here in the heart of stone, it's as if the pyramid knows how to turn sound into a slower thing. Some people describe this as resonance, but you don't need the word. You only need the image, a hum in the chest, a soft vibration, the sound meeting stone and returning as a quiet echo. And in that echo, the mind begins to relax because it feels held. If you are lying in bed, you can try a tiny experiment, only if it feels comfortable. Breathe in gently, and as you exhale, let your throat make the faintest hum, barely audible, just enough that you can feel it rather than hear it. Notice how it relaxes the chest, loosens the throat, settles the nerves, then let it go. No need to repeat unless you want to. The story itself will do the holding now. the chamber feels like a pocket in time. The stone has no impatience. It has endured sun and wind, flood and drought, centuries of human change, and yet inside it is calm, like a deep lake that never learned to ripple. We stay for a moment with that calm, and then, in that calm, the soft twist of our journey begins to bloom, not as a shocking revelation, but as a gentle widening of the heart. Because when you listen carefully, the pyramid is not only a monument, it is also a conversation between earth and sky. Outside, the stars wheel slowly. Inside, the stone holds steady, and somewhere between them, between the turning above and the stillness below, human beings once placed their hope. Many ancient builders cared deeply about direction, north, south, east, west. Not as an obsession, but as a form of belonging. To align something with the world is to say, we are part of this. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are under the same sky. And if you allow that idea to settle, it becomes comforting. Because it suggests that your life too, no matter how busy, no matter how tangled, still exists under a larger order. A slower rhythm, a wider pattern. Sometimes we lose touch with that pattern in modern life. We wake to alarms, we read too many messages, we rush from one task to the next. The mind becomes a small room full of noise. But the night sky and the old stones beneath it do not rush. They invite you back. They say, without words, you can slow down. You can align again. You can breathe with the world instead of fighting it. So let us step out of the chamber and return to the open plateau for a moment. The desert wind meets us again, gentle and dry. The pyramid silhouette stands dark against the stars. And now, if you look up, you might notice something else. The way certain stars feel brighter, more present, as if they are watching too. In ancient Egypt, the sky was not just decoration. It was a map, a story, a field of meaning. People watched the stars with patience, tracking their movements, noticing patterns that repeated year after year. In that watching, there was a kind of meditation. Imagine a priest or an astronomer, someone whose work was simply to observe, standing on a rooftop at night, wrapped in linen, his breath visible faintly in the cooler air. He does not rush to write down numbers, he just watches. He waits for a certain star to rise, to cross a line, to return again. And waiting becomes a practice of calm. If you are someone who struggles with sleep, you know how hard it can be to wait gently. The mind wants to force rest, it wants to command sleep. But sleep is shy. It arrives when you stop grabbing for it. It arrives when you create the conditions: quiet, warmth, steadiness, safety. And that is what these stories are for, not to excite you, to create conditions. And here is the soft discovery. The builders of the pyramids were also creating conditions. Conditions for memory to endure, conditions for meaning to be carried forward, conditions for a human life to feel connected to something vast. They worked in stone, the slowest medium of all. And because it was slow, it demanded a certain kind of mind, a patient mind, a steady mind. Maybe tonight, without even realizing it, you are practicing the same kind of mind. You are listening slowly. You are letting images drift in and out without clinging. You are letting the day fall away. You are allowing time to be slow. That is not nothing. That is a quiet skill. We walk along the plateau again, and in the distance, the Sphinx sleeps, a lion body with a human face, lying low against the sand as if it has learned the art of rest. Its outline is soft in the darkness, and the wind moves past it like a whispered lullaby. There is a tenderness in imagining the Sphinx at night. In daylight, it can feel like a symbol demanding interpretation. At night, it becomes a guardian of quiet. a creature carved to watch, yet also carved to endure the silence. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. Perhaps a memory of looking up at a night sky, or of standing near an old building, or simply of a moment when you felt time slow down. And now, as we prepare to move deeper into the heart of our journey, I want to leave you with a gentle question, one that does not require an answer tonight. If the stars can guide the builders of stone, what gentle light can guide you through the quiet of your own life? We will continue soon, following that question like a soft lantern toward a place where water stands still beneath ancient architecture and where the stillness itself becomes part of the story. The plateau of Giza is wide and the sky above it feels even wider. Yet after a while the mind begins to crave a different kind of spaciousness, one that is not made of air and stars but of silence held close. So tonight, very gently, we let the desert wind guide us southward along the river's memory, toward a place whose name sounds like a soft footstep in a stone hallway. Abydos. If you've never been there, that's all right. You don't need a passport for this journey. You only need your imagination and the willingness to move slowly. The Nile carries us again, not in a hurry, not with splashing drama, but like a steady breath. Along its banks, palm fronds whisper. The water reflects a narrow ribbon of moonlight that trembles and then becomes smooth again. As the boat drifts, you might notice something in yourself. The way repetition becomes soothing. The same oar dipping, the same quiet creak of wood, the same long stretch of dark water. The body begins to trust patterns. The nervous system relaxes when it knows what comes next. And what comes next is not a riddle that demands solving. It is a scene that invites resting. Abydos is ancient, and its stones have seen many kinds of devotion. People came here to honor gods, kings, ancestors, and the idea that life continues beyond one lifetime. But tonight we will not crowd the story with names or arguments. We will walk like quiet visitors, letting the feeling of the place do the speaking. Before we reach that deeper chamber, we pass through a quieter kind of architecture, the kind that feels like a hallway made for whispering. Abydos is home to temples where walls are covered in carved lines, boats offering stars, and faces looking forward, neither fierce nor afraid. In the dimness, reliefs catch the light like old paper. The raised edges brighten, then soften, then brighten again. As the flame moves, you might imagine running your fingertips along one of those carvings. The stone is cool, the grooves shallow and precise. It is strange how a simple line cut into limestone by a patient hand can outlast cities and generations. The carving doesn't insist on being understood, it only insists on being present. And presence, when it is gentle, is often enough. Outside the temple walls, the desert is quiet. Inside, the air is still. A faint scent of soot might linger from lamps that burned long ago, and in the corners you can almost feel the dust of centuries resting. If the day has been loud for you, let this imagined hallway absorb some of that noise. Picture your thoughts as footsteps that slow naturally on sacred ground. There is a story connected to Abydos, one about Osiris, about loss and return, about a cycle that keeps turning. You don't need the details tonight, you only need the softness of the idea that endings can be followed by beginnings and what disappears can become part of what grows. The ancient people held this idea close, and perhaps that is why water feels so at home in the Osirian. Water is not only a thing that moves, it is also a thing that renews. So as we approach the lower steps, let yourself carry one small hope, the way you might carry a cup, carefully, without spilling. Maybe your hope is as simple as sleeping well tonight. Maybe it is the hope that tomorrow will feel lighter. Small hopes are often the strongest because they are easy to hold. And now, with that hope in hand, we descend gently. There is a structure here that feels almost like a dream set into the earth, an arrangement of heavy stone and deep shade, and most of all, water, the Serapeum. Imagine approaching it at night. The land is flat and sandy, the air dry and cool. A faint smell of dust sits in the wind, but beneath it there is also the scent of something darker, damp in a way the desert usually is not. It is the scent of hidden water. We descend by steps that are worn and calm, each one inviting your feet to slow down. The sound of your movement becomes softer as you go lower, as if the earth is gently swallowing it. The walls around you change in texture, massive blocks, deeper shadows, older silence. Then you reach the chamber. It is not bright. It is not loud. It is a quiet hollow made of stone. And in the center, there is water that has chosen to stay. Still water, not perfectly glass. Nothing living is perfectly still, but quiet enough that it feels like a held breath. The water sits within channels and a central basin, and it reflects the darkness above in a muted, patient way. If your light passes over it, the reflection shivers and then settles like someone easing back into sleep. This is one of those images that doesn't need to be explained to be powerful. A desert and water, a monument and a pool, a place built to hold something that refuses to hurry. If you've been carrying thoughts that won't drain away, old conversations, unfinished tasks, worries that circle, let this water be your teacher. It does not fight the shape of the stone, it simply fills what is given and rests there. We step closer. The stones around the basin are large and steady, their surfaces rough in places, smoother in others. They feel like they were set down by patient hands that understood weight, balance, and time. The air is cooler near the water, and you can almost feel the temperature touching your cheeks, lowering the heat of your day. Some visitors in daylight might ask practical questions. Why is there water? Where does it come from? Why does it remain? Those questions have their place, but at night, questions can be like bright lamps, useful yet too sharp for sleep. So we will dim them. We will keep only the gentlest curiosity, like a candle behind frosted glass. The water is here, the stone is here, the quiet is here, and something in that trio feels like a lullaby. Listen closely in your imagination. You may hear a faint drip spaced far apart. You may hear the softest lap against a stone edge. You may hear nothing at all, and even that nothing can be soothing. Silence, when it feels safe, is not emptiness. It is space. If you want, you can take one slow breath in, and on the exhale, imagine your thoughts settling to the bottom, like silt in calm water. No forcing, just allowing. The mind knows how to settle when it is not stirred. In ancient Egypt, water was not only practical, it was symbolic. It was a boundary, a passage, a mirror between worlds. A river could be a road, a canal could be an offering, a pool could be a place where the sacred felt close. And in a chamber like this, water does not announce itself. It simply stays, quietly reminding you that even in the driest seasons, life finds a way to hold on. There is something healing about that. Because modern life can feel like a desert too, emails like sand, appointments like heat, constant motion like wind that never rests. When you finally lie down at night, your mind can still feel dry, as if it has been exposed to too much sun. But here, in this imagined chamber, there is moisture in the air. There is coolness. There is a gentle sense that the world contains more than speed. We sit on a stone step near the basin. The surface under us is firm, and that firmness is comforting. The water's presence is not exciting, it is steady. It is as if the Serapeum was designed to teach patience through sensation, heavy stone for grounding, cool air for soothing, still water for quieting. If you could place one worry into the water tonight, just one, not all of them, what would it be? You don't need to name it out loud. You can simply picture it as a small pebble in your palm. Then, in your imagination, let it drop, not with a splash, with the softest plunk. Watch the ripples widen, thin, and fade. And notice how, after the ripples, the water becomes itself again. That is what your nervous system can do too. The chamber feels timeless. You might imagine that long ago, someone stood here with an oil lamp, watching the reflections dance on stone. Perhaps they came seeking meaning. Perhaps they came seeking comfort. Perhaps they came because the world above felt too loud. The reasons change across centuries, but the longing is familiar, the longing to be held by something steady. We remain in this place a while until your eyelids feel heavier, until your breathing feels deeper. And then, very gently, we begin to climb back toward the surface. As we ascend, the air warms slightly. The smell of dampness fades into dust again. The sound of our steps returns, soft but present. When we emerge into the open night, the stars are still there, calm and unchanged. And now a soft thought arrives, another gentle twist, not a shock, but a comfort. The ancient world knew how to build places for slowness, not only monuments to be seen, but chambers to be felt. Spaces that invite the body to settle, the mind to soften, the heart to quiet. Tonight, you are building such a space too inside yourself, simply by listening. In the next part, we will return to the craft of stone that began our journey. The vessels, the curves, the patient hands that shaped hardness into smoothness. We will step into an imagined workshop where the sound is not loud, only rhythmic. Scrape, pause, scrape like a steady breath. For now, keep the Osirion's water with you. Let it be the calm pool inside your chest. Let your thoughts be silt that settles. Let the night hold you without question. Here, no one rests alone. Even beneath ancient stone, water remembers how to wait, and it waits with you. When we leave the Osirion behind, we do not leave its feeling behind. The still water stays inside the mind like a soft afterimage, dark, reflective, unhurried. Even as we rise back into the open desert night, you can sense that something in you has slowed. Not forced, not commanded, just naturally, as if your inner world has found a gentler temperature. And now, as the river carries us in imagination once more, we drift back towards Saqqara, the place where our story began with a beam of light sliding across stone in the quiet underground. We return for a reason. Because beneath the questions about how monuments were built, beneath the wide gaze of pyramids and the deep hush of hidden chambers, there is another story that can be even more soothing, the story of craft. The story of a person sitting with a piece of stone for hours, days, sometimes years, shaping it with patience. It is a story small enough to fit inside your hands, and small stories, told gently, are often the ones that help the mind fall asleep. Imagine an early morning in ancient Egypt. The sky is pale, still cool. The first sunlight arrives not like a flash, but like warm breath. A workshop is set up near a wall in the shade where the heat will be softer. The ground is hard-packed sand, swept clean. A few tools rest nearby, simple shapes, honest materials. A stone pounder, a piece of copper, a wooden bow drill, maybe a handful of sand used like a quiet abrasive. In the center of this small world sits a craftsman. He is not a character in a dramatic tale. He is simply a person doing careful work. Perhaps his hands are broad, perhaps they are lean. Either way, they move with the calm confidence of repetition. He knows what the stone will do if he presses too hard. He knows how to listen for the subtle change in sound that tells him when the surface is becoming smooth. In his lap, there is a piece of stone, maybe alabaster, maybe basalt, maybe granite. It looks rough at first, unpromising, but he doesn't treat it as stubborn. He treats it as something that can be guided. The first strikes are dull, measured, tap, tap, pause, tap, tap, pause. The rhythm is not loud and it is not hurried. It is like the heartbeat of work done without fear. If you have ever watched someone carve wood, knead dough, or polish metal, you know this kind of focus. The face becomes quiet, the breath becomes slow. The whole person seems to enter a smaller, steadier world. Now imagine that our craftsman begins to shape a vessel, a bowl perhaps, or a jar with a narrow neck. The curve will need to be even, not because anyone will measure it with machines, but because the human eye finds peace in balance. Symmetry comforts the mind. It's one reason we like calm music, smooth stones, tidy rooms. The brain relaxes when it senses order without effort. And in ancient Egypt, order was not only practical, it was a way of living with the world. The craftsman turns the stone slowly. Sand and water might be used in a quiet partnership. Water to carry away dust, sand to help smooth the surface. The motion repeats: scrape, pause, scrape, pause. Sometimes he lifts the vessel and looks through it, checking the thickness by feel, by instinct, by a kind of intimate knowing. He does not need to speak. His hands speak for him. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the sound, a soft rasp, a whisper of grit, then silence again. This is not the sound of construction. It is the sound of refinement. It is the sound of time being used gently. Somewhere in Saqqara's underground galleries, thousands upon thousands of stone vessels were found. Many of them are so smooth and balanced that even modern eyes feel a small, quiet satisfaction looking at them. Not because they are mysterious, but because they are calm. Picture them resting in the dark, arranged and stored like a sleeping collection. Bowls nested, jars lined, each one a small proof that someone once sat in the shade and worked slowly. Each one an artifact of patience. If you are the kind of person whose mind stays busy at night, you might recognize something in this, the way the mind becomes tired from being sharp, and the way it becomes rested by being soft. The craftsman's work is soft thinking. It is attention without anxiety. Let that idea soothe you. We are not meant to live in high alert all the time. We are meant to have stretches of slow focus, gentle rhythm, and quiet satisfaction. The ancient workshop offers that as a gift across time. Now imagine a different scene, still quiet, still slow. A group of workers in the early light preparing to move something heavy, not with shouting or panic, with coordination. A sled rests on the sand, ropes are laid out, a stone block sits balanced, waiting. Someone pours water onto the sand ahead, darkening it. The grains settle closer together, becoming smoother, less resistant. The sled will slide with less friction. The load will move with less strain. It is such a small detail, yet it is one of the most human details of all. We learn to make the path easier. In your own life, perhaps you have also learned this in quiet ways, turning off bright lights at night, making tea, putting a soft blanket at the edge of the bed, choosing gentler words for yourself. These are your own versions of wetting the sand. Small adjustments that make heavy days slide more smoothly. Tonight, as you listen, you are doing it again. You are making the path towards sleep easier, not by forcing, but by softening. The story returns to the underground, not as a dramatic descent, but as a gentle return to cool air. We picture ourselves again in Saqqara's corridors, moving slowly, our light small. The vessels in imagination are there again, smooth shapes in niches and shelves. The air smells faintly of stone. Our footsteps are careful. Then, as if the desert itself wants to show us one more kind of precision, the memory of the granite boxes returns. The Serapeum's heavy calm comes back into view, not as a challenge, but as a reassurance. The lids meet the bases with a closeness that feels like a lullaby of certainty. The corners are square, the surfaces smooth enough to catch and release our light. Not in a flashy way, just in a soft shimmer that comes and goes like breathing. There is something deeply soothing in a thing that fits. In modern life, so many things feel misaligned, schedules, expectations, feelings that don't match the moment. We often live with small gaps inside us, places where we don't feel quite joined. But in the presence of precise stone, the mind can borrow a sense of closure. It says, here the pieces meet. Here the seam is calm. Here it is okay to settle. This is one of the quiet secrets of sleep stories. We do not need to solve the past, to be soothed by it. We only need to let its textures and rhythms invite our nervous system into a slower state. So let's linger a little longer in the idea of craft, the craftsman's hands, the slow scraping, the water and sand, the careful smoothing, the quiet pride of creating something that will outlast the maker. If you've ever made anything at all, even something small, you know this pride. A meal cooked for someone you love. A letter written carefully. A shelf assembled in your home. A garden tended. These acts, too, are your stone vessels. They are ways of leaving calm behind. And maybe that is the soft reflection forming in this part of our journey, that the ancient world's greatest gift was not only monuments, but the practice of patience. Patience is not passive. It is active gentleness. It is choosing not to rush, even when the world invites rushing. It is choosing to shape something slowly, even when no one is watching. Tonight you are practicing patience with yourself. You are listening slowly. You are letting the mind wander without grabbing. You are allowing the body to soften, breath by breath. And in that practice, you are doing something profoundly human. Here, no one rests alone. The hands of the past reach forward, not to demand anything, but to offer a rhythm you can borrow. In the next part, we will gather the threads, stone, water, sky, and human life, into one gentle expansion, a soft climax that doesn't jolt but opens the heart. We'll return to the plateau under stars and let the idea of time become a blanket rather than a burden. For now, stay with the workshop's rhythm. Scrape, pause, scrape, pause. Let that rhythm become your breath, in and out. And if your eyes close, let them close. The story will keep a small lantern lit beside you, steady and warm. The workshop fades the way a candle fades when dawn approaches, not with a snap, but with a soft thinning of light. The craftsman's hands, the sand and water, the gentle scrape of stone against grit, they drift backward into the mind like a remembered lullaby. And now, in the slow cinema of this night, we return to the open air, where the desert breathes and the sky waits. Imagine walking again across the plateau, not as someone chasing secrets, but as someone returning to a place that feels strangely familiar. The ground is firm underfoot. The wind moves with the calm persistence of a tide. Above, the stars are steady, and their steadiness begins to feel like permission. Permission to slow down. Permission to stop bracing. Permission to rest. In modern life, we are trained to tighten. We tighten around deadlines, around news, around small misunderstandings that echo too loudly. We tighten around the idea that we must keep up. But the desert does not keep up with anything. It keeps its own pace, and its pace is older than urgency. So as we walk, Let the desert pace become yours. You might notice the pyramids again, those dark, simple forms rising like quiet mountains made by human hands. They do not glitter, they do not shout, they stand with the kind of confidence that comes from being fully placed. And there is a gentle comfort in being near something that does not ask you to perform. We pause and we look up. The sky is not a ceiling here, it is a vastness. It holds the stars the way a deep ocean holds lanternfish, scattered points of light in endless dark. Some stars seem close enough to touch, though they are unimaginably far. Others are faint, like soft thoughts you barely notice, yet they are still there. And this is where our story begins to open. Because the ancient builders did not only shape stone, they also shaped attention. They paid attention to the horizon, to the cardinal directions, to the returning patterns of the night. They watched patiently, and in their watching they learned to place their work into the world as if the world itself had a gentle order. Not a rigid order, a living order, a rhythm. If you have ever watched waves arrive at shore, you know what I mean. Each wave is different, yet the waves belong to one movement. The sea does not argue with itself, it simply continues, and the body, if it lets itself, can synchronize. Tonight, your breathing can synchronize too, in and out, longer out than in, like a tide that always finds its way back. And in that quiet moment under the endless sky, something felt different. Not because we solved anything, not because we uncovered a final answer, but because the heart recognized something it has always wanted, a sense of belonging inside time. There is a strange fear that sometimes visits people at night, a fear not of danger, but of emptiness. The fear that time is rushing, that years are slipping, that the past is gone and the future is uncertain. If you know that feeling, you are not alone. Many people carry it quietly, especially when the room grows dark. But here, under this imagined sky, the past is not a closed door. It is a long hallway with many lamps, stone vessels, granite chambers, still water, bread ovens, boats on the river. Each image is a lamp, and none of them demand that you hold them too tightly. They only say, life has always moved between effort and rest. The ancient worker woke early. He pulled rope, he shared bread, he slept, he woke again. The craftsman polished a curve until it felt like calm. He rinsed dust from his hands. He listened. To the day end he slept. Even the river did this. It rose, it fell, it carried, it rested. And when you see the cycle like that, something inside softens. Because your own life too is allowed to be cyclical. You are allowed to have days of strain and nights of release. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to be unfinished. We walk a little closer to the pyramid's shadow. The stones beneath our feet feel cooler. The air seems quieter, as if the structure gathers sound and holds it gently. Your mind might want to wander toward questions again. How, why, who? But you can let the questions be like stars, beautiful, distant, not something you need to grasp. Instead, consider this. What if the greatest message of these stones is not a solution, but a practice? A practice of patience? A practice of alignment? A practice of care? There is a kind of care that does not need applause. It happens in kitchens at night when someone washes dishes slowly. It happens when you fold a shirt and smooth the fabric, even if no one will see it. It happens when you choose a gentler thought about yourself after a hard day. The ancient world left us a landscape of care, not perfect, not innocent, not free of suffering, but threaded with moments where people chose to make something steady. If you are listening from a place that feels chaotic, let that steadiness touch you. You do not have to become steady all at once. You only have to borrow one small fraction of it for this breath, and then the next. Sometimes the nervous system only needs one signal of safety to begin to unwind. The pyramid is that signal, the river is that signal, the still water is that signal, and the story itself can be that signal too. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. We sit now in imagination on a low stone. The desert wind moves past like a quiet hand. The sky continues its slow turning, though you cannot feel the turning, only the steadiness. Far away, perhaps a jackal calls once, a sound so brief it feels like a punctuation mark in a long sentence. Then silence returns. There is another small scene I like to carry into this night because it makes the ancient world feel gentle and near. Imagine a workers' village settling into darkness. Not far from the great stones, but far enough that the wind is softer between low walls. A lamp burns behind a doorway and paints warm light onto the ground. Inside, someone stirs a pot slowly, steam rising in a thin ribbon. The scent is warm grain. The sounds are small, a bowl being set down, a jug being poured, the low murmur of tired voices. Bread is broken and shared. It is not a feast, it is a comfort. A cup of thick beer passes from hand to hand, not to excite, but to nourish. Someone rubs dust from their palms, someone stretches aching shoulders, someone steps outside for a moment and looks up at the same sky we are looking at now, and in that glance upward, you can feel the bridge between then and now. Because you have done it too. You have stepped out of your day, even for a second, and looked into the dark above your roof, hoping the night would be kind. When the worker returns inside, the lamp is turned lower. The room grows dim. A mat waits on the floor. The body settles. The mind begins to loosen its grip, and somewhere in the distance, the pyramid remains, silent, steady, like a calm presence that keeps watch without speaking. Even the craftsman, after polishing stone all day, would have needed sleep. Perhaps he sat for a moment, listening to the night outside, letting its rhythm untie his thoughts. Perhaps before his eyes closed, he pictured the vessel he was making, smooth and balanced in the future, already resting in someone's hands. So if you are carrying the feeling that everything is too fast, let this village scene slow you. Let it remind you that human life has always needed evening, a place to set down weight. And if you feel tenderness for those ancient people, tired, ordinary, devoted, let that tenderness turn toward you. The night receives them all the way it receives you. You are allowed to rest. In that silence, I want to offer you a gentle question. Not a question that forces your mind to work, but a question that lets your heart loosen. If your life could be placed into the wider rhythm of the world, what would you let go of first? You don't need to answer. You can simply feel the question like cool water on warm skin. And if any tightness in your body responds, if your chest loosens, if your shoulders drop, then the question has already done its work. Now, a second invitation, equally soft. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. Maybe it is a memory of looking up at stars from a porch when the air smelled like summer. Maybe it is a memory of a grandparent's quiet kitchen at night, the sound of a kettle, the warmth of a lamp. Maybe it is simply a memory of one evening when you finally felt, for a moment, that you were safe. These memories matter. They are your own stone vessels, carefully made and quietly stored. We stay a little longer under the sky and we let the mind drift. The story does not need to move fast. It moves like water. It moves like breath. Soon, in the next part, we will return to one final passage beneath the sand, one last cool corridor where the light glides over stone, and where the seam between lid and base becomes a symbol for something tender. The way the pieces of your day can finally meet and close without struggle. For now, let the night remain wide, let the stars remain steady, let your thoughts become quieter, like footsteps in a museum. And if sleep is already arriving, let it arrive the way the desert night arrives, slowly, kindly, without announcement. We return to the underworld the way you return to a familiar room in your home at night, quietly, without turning on every light. The desert above is still breathing under the stars, but beneath it there is another kind of breath, cooler, steadier, held inside stone. Imagine the entrance again at Saqqara, modest and calm. We step down, one careful step after another. The air changes at once. The outside world falls away like a coat slipping from your shoulders. The temperature becomes kind, the sound becomes small. Even the thoughts that were lingering at the edges of your mind begin to soften, as if they too have decided to walk more slowly. Our light is gentle. It does not stab the dark. It only glides. It brushes the limestone walls and reveals their pale surface, then lets them return to shadow. The beam moves like a slow wave, and the wave teaches the body to breathe in and out. A corridor extends ahead, and the silence inside it is not empty. It is full of time, resting. You can almost feel the years stacked here the way sand stacks in the wind, layer after layer, quiet upon quiet. Somewhere nearby, the niches and shelves of old storage chambers wait in stillness. In your imagination, the stone vessels return again, rounded shapes, smooth mouths, careful curves. They sit like sleeping moons in the dark. We pass them with tenderness. We do not count them. We do not measure them. We only let their steadiness wash over us. There is comfort in knowing that someone once cared enough to polish a surface until it became calm. The corridor narrows a little, then widens again. Our footsteps are soft. The light swings, and for a moment it catches a gleam on a harder stone, something darker, denser, more ancient in its own way. Granite. We are approaching that long hallway again, the one that feels like a deep breath held under the sand. The Serapeum does not greet us loudly. It greets us with coolness, with weight, with an almost tender stillness. When we enter, the air seems to lower its voice. The passage is long and straight, and the walls swallow sound. Our light moves forward like a slow lantern on a tide. Alcoves open along the sides, and in each alcove a great granite box rests, settled as if the earth itself placed it there and then decided to keep it safe. We step into one alcove and stop. The box is large, calm and silent. It does not need to be explained to be felt. It is enough to stand close and notice how your own body responds to heaviness that is not threatening. There is a particular peace in a thing that cannot be rushed. It reminds the mind that some realities are bigger than urgency. Our light glides across the stone. The surface answers with a soft sheen, then returns to darkness. A corner emerges sharp and sure, then fades. The lid sits on the base with a closeness that feels like a whispered promise. And now we arrive at the seam. That fine, quiet line where lid meets body, stone touching stone, so close that the boundary feels like a breath. Many people come here and feel the old curiosity rise. How did they do it? Why so precise? What does it mean? Tonight we do not push those questions away. We simply place them gently on the seam as if setting a feather on water. Let them rest. Let them be light. Let them drift. Instead, we listen to what the seam makes us feel. The seam feels like closure. Not an ending that slams, but an ending that settles. Like a door that closes softly and stays closed without effort. Like a drawer that slides shut and becomes quiet. like the moment your eyes finally decide to stop searching the room and let darkness be enough. If you have been carrying open loops today, unfinished tasks, unanswered messages, worries that keep asking for your attention, imagine those loops becoming seams. Imagine each one meeting itself gently. Not because everything is solved, but because everything is allowed to pause. There is a kind of wisdom in things that fit. Not the wisdom of superiority, but the wisdom of care. Someone long ago chose to spend time making stone meet stone. They could have left gaps, they could have accepted roughness, but they did not. They gave their attention to the join, and the join is what makes the whole feel safe. In your own life, the joins matter too. The small rituals that help your day close. The light you dim at night. The cup you rinse and set down. The blanket you pull up. The way you tell yourself, quietly, that you have done enough for one day. These are your seams. Tonight, let us make one together. As you listen, let your breathing slow. In and out. Let your exhale be the lid lowering. Let your inhale be the steady base receiving it. Let the breath meet itself in the middle, where the seam is. Stay with that idea for a few breaths, the way you might stay with the last note of a song before it disappears. Notice the quality of the air in this imagined corridor. Notice how the darkness here is not frightening. It is simply complete. There are no flashing screens underground, no sudden notifications, no bright corners demanding attention. Only stone and the pool of light we carry. If you listen closely, you may notice a sound that is almost not a sound, the soft hum of your own blood, the faint shift of fabric when you breathe. In places like this, the body becomes audible in a gentle way, and when the body is heard, it often calms. It remembers that it is safe. Imagine placing your palm on the granite once more. Feel the coolness travel slowly into your skin, as if the stone is lending you its patience. Let the stone offer one simple message. You do not have to be faster than time. You only have to be present inside it. And if your mind returns to the day, let it return without scolding. Let it show you a meeting, a bill, a conversation, a face. Then gently, imagine taking that thought and setting it beside the seam, like placing a folded letter on a shelf. The thought can stay there. It does not need to follow you into sleep. Here, no one rests alone. Even in this deep passage, you are accompanied by ancient hands, by the steady weight of stone, by the soft lantern of this story. If you feel lonely at night, let the corridor be a kind companion. Let the seam be a gentle border between not yet and enough for today. One breath in and one breath out. The lid lowers. The base receives. The seam becomes still. You do not have to force the breath. You only have to allow it to become smooth. We stand beside the granite a little longer. The coolness rises gently into the face, soothing. The silence holds the ears. Your mind begins to behave differently here. It stops leaping, it starts drifting. Thoughts arrive like distant footsteps and then fade, absorbed by the heavy air. In that drifting, a gentle reflection forms. The ancient world, for all its scale, was built from moments like this, moments of careful joining. Stone blocks set level, lines carved with patience. Vessels smoothed until the hand could trust them. Paths made easier by wetting the sand. Bread baked until it browned just enough. Beer brewed until it nourished. A day closed with a lamp turned low. What if the beauty of the past is not in its mystery, but in its devotion to finishing softly? Many of us today finish harshly. We end our days by scrolling, by worrying, by replaying. We collapse rather than settle. The mind falls asleep still holding the edges of the day like a clenched fist. But the stones teach another way. They teach the art of closure without violence. And perhaps that is the soft twist of this part. The true monument is not the pyramid alone, not the box alone, not the temple alone. The true monument is the human capacity to make something calm and complete, even when the world is uncertain. If that idea warms you, let it. If it feels distant, that is okay too. You do not need to believe anything tonight. You only need to feel a little safer than you did an hour ago. We begin to walk back along the Serapeum corridor. The light moves ahead of us, and the alcoves pass like slow, quiet doorways. Each granite box remains behind, resting, unbothered by our leaving. There is no possessiveness in stone. It does not demand that you stay. It allows you to go. As we move, imagine that you are also leaving something behind, one small worry, one small tension. You can set it on the floor of the corridor like a pebble placed carefully in a corner. The stone will hold it for the night. When we reach the entrance and climb back into the open air, the stars are still there. The desert wind is still gentle. The step pyramid stands quietly, unchanged. The world did not require you to solve it. It only required you to breathe inside it. And now, as this part comes to a close, let the seam remain with you. Let it become a symbol of your own evening. A soft closing, a gentle joining, a quiet acceptance that some answers can wait. In the next part, we will let the story widen one last time, returning to the night sky, to the river's reflection, to the long tenderness of time, and we will begin the slow descent towards sleep's deepest shore. For now, if your eyelids are heavy, let them be heavy. If your breath is slow, let it be slow. If your thoughts are thinning, let them thin. The seam has closed, and you are safe. When we leave the Serapeum, it feels as if we are carrying a small gift in our chest, the feeling of a seam that closes softly. Not an ending that demands finality, but a pause that feels complete enough for tonight. The corridor's cool air lingers in the imagination. The granite's calm weight lingers too. And as we step back into the open night at Saqqara, the sky seems even wider because the mind is no longer pressing against it. The desert has its own kind of kindness. It does not solve your problems, but it does not add new ones either. It simply exists, steady and spacious. The wind moves gently across the sand, smoothing it like a hand smoothing a blanket. Somewhere far off, a small sound rises, a distant call, a faint rustle, and then the quiet returns. We stand beneath the stars again, and here, without any sudden movement, our story begins to widen into something like a soft climax. Not a peak that jolts the heart, but an opening that makes the chest feel lighter. Because when you look at the ancient landscape as a whole, you begin to see a pattern that is not about mystery, but about continuity. Stone and water, sky and earth, work and rest, care and time. The ancient world did not separate these things the way we often do. For them, the river's flood was not only agriculture, it was renewal. The sky was not only beauty, it was order. Stone was not only material, it was memory. And tonight, as you listen, you are allowed to feel that pattern too, not as information, but as comfort. Imagine the Nile again, stretching through darkness like a calm ribbon. The moon's reflection lies across its surface, trembling slightly, then smoothing out. A boat drifts slowly. There is no rushing current, only steady movement. The sound of oars is soft, spaced out like slow breaths. A bird shifts in reeds and then becomes still. If you have ever watched water at night, you know how it changes your mind. It pulls your attention outward, away from the tight loops of thought, into something longer, and smoother. It reminds you that your worries are not the only motion in the world. And then imagine the pyramids again, rising above the plateau. From a distance, they look almost simple, triangles of darkness against the stars. Their scale is immense, yes, but their silence is even larger. They do not compete with the sky. They share it, and in that sharing, you can feel something tender. Sometimes people think history is a list of dates and names. But at night, history can become something else, a soft companionship, a reminder that others, long before you, also looked up into darkness and wondered, also longed for peace, also grew tired and wished for rest. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. The lanterns in this story are not dramatic flames. They are small lights, a craftsman's hands, a loaf of bread, a splash of water on sand, a beam of light gliding over granite, still water waiting beneath stone. Each one is a small proof that human life contains gentleness, even in hard landscapes. And now, very softly, we reach the heart of the expansion, the idea that time itself can be comforting. This might sound strange at first because time is often what worries us. We fear time running out, we fear aging, we fear change, we fear how quickly seasons pass. At night, these fears can whisper louder because the mind is tired and more vulnerable. But the ancient stones offer a different relationship with time. They show time as something that holds, something that carries, something that does not always take away. Sometimes it preserves, it keeps, it allows the careful to last. Imagine one of those stone vessels again, resting underground for centuries, untouched. Imagine the moment it is found brought gently into light. Imagine someone's modern hand holding it and feeling the smoothness that another hand created thousands of years ago. In that moment, time becomes a bridge instead of a wall. It becomes a way of touching another human being across centuries, a way of saying, "You were here, I am here." We both know what it means to shape something carefully to hope it lasts. When you think of time like that, it becomes less frightening. It becomes a larger home. And perhaps that is what the pyramids truly do for the night mind. They widen your sense of belonging. They remind you that your life is one chapter, yes, but it is inside a long book. You do not have to carry the entire book tonight. You only have to rest inside your page. So let your breath become part of that long rhythm, in and out. If your thoughts drift to tomorrow, let them drift the way a boat drifts. Do not chase them. Do not argue with them. Simply notice and then return to the feel of the blanket, the pillow, the room around you. And if you need a gentle anchor, imagine this image, a beam of light sliding over polished granite, brightening it for a second, then letting it return to shadow. The light moves like a wave. Your breath moves like a wave. Your mind can move like a wave too, arriving, receding, arriving, receding. Now, to deepen the calm, we return briefly to the workers' village in imagination, because it is one of the warmest lanterns in the story. A low wall, a small doorway, a lamp turned down. Inside, the air smells of warm grain. Bread is shared. A cup is passed. Voices are low and kind. The day is finished, not because everything is solved, but because the body needs rest. Someone lies down on a simple mat. Their shoulders release. Their breathing slows. Outside, the pyramid stands in the dark, steady as a promise. The stars remain. And now, softly, a question rises. One more question, but not a sharp one. A question you can let float. If the ancient world could leave you one gift, would you choose the stone's patience or the river's gentle flow? You don't have to answer. You can simply feel the two images: stone, steady, cool, unmoving; river, flowing, reflective, carrying. Both are forms of peace, Both can live inside you. And as you lie there, listening, you might notice that your own body already knows how to do both. Your bones are stone, steady, supportive. Your breath is river, moving, renewing. You are already made of the two great elements of this story. That realization is not meant to excite you, it is meant to soothe you, because it suggests that rest is natural. Rest is not an achievement. Rest is a return. Now let the story begin to tilt gently downward towards sleep. Not abruptly, not like a staircase, but like a shoreline that slopes into water. We picture the desert again late at night. The wind is softer now, the sky is deeper. The stars seem to pulse more faintly, as if the world is dimming itself on purpose. We picture the underground again, but from above, chambers resting beneath sand, granite boxes sleeping in alcoves, vessels lined in darkness, still water waiting in stone. Everything is in its place, nothing is rushing, and you too can be in your place. If you'd like, allow your eyes to soften behind your eyelids, allow your tongue to rest, allow your hands to become heavier, allow the muscles in your legs to let go one by one, as if each is a rope being untied gently. Here, no one rests alone. Your presence here, listening in the dark, is part of something quiet and shared. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. In the next part, we will begin the final drift. We will return to 3 repeating images: stone, water, sky, and let them loop softly like a lullaby until the mind stops reaching and simply settles. For now, let time be a blanket, let the past be a lantern, let the night be kind. Now the story begins to move the way sleep moves, not in straight lines but in gentle circles. When the mind is ready to rest, it does not want new information, it wants familiar images repeated softly, like a hand stroking the same calming pattern. So tonight we will return again and again to 3 lanterns: stone, water, sky. Each one is simple, each one is ancient, each one is safe. Let the first lantern appear. Stone. Imagine the granite box in the Serapeum, resting in its alcove. The air around it is cool and still. Our small light glides over its surface and creates a brief sheen. Then the sheen fades back into darkness. The lid meets the base with that quiet seam, so close that it feels like a breath. Stone does not chase you, stone does not demand, stone simply holds. If your thoughts feel restless, let the stone hold them for a moment. Imagine placing each thought gently on the granite like a small pebble. You do not have to throw it, you do not have to bury it. Just place it down. Then let the thought stay there. And now, without hurry, let the second lantern appear. Water. Imagine the Osirian still basin in Abydos. Water resting where water chooses to rest, not forced, not drained, not stirred. The surface is dark and calm, reflecting the faintest hint of light. If a ripple arrives, it spreads thinly and then disappears. The water returns to itself. If your mind keeps circling, let the water teach it how to settle. Thoughts can be like silt, floating when the mind is stirred, sinking when the mind becomes still. You do not need to push the silt down, you only need to stop stirring, in and out. The water holds the quiet. And now the third lantern. Sky. Imagine the plateau of Giza under stars. The pyramids are silhouettes, patient and unchanged. The desert wind moves like a slow whisper. Above, stars scatter across the darkness. Some are bright, some are faint. All are steady. The sky does not judge. The sky does not hurry. The sky gives you room. If you felt crowded by your day, let the sky give you space. Imagine your thoughts drifting upward and outward, thinning into the night until they become as light as dust. Stone, water, sky. Now we begin the loop again, even softer. Stone. A craftsman's hands, a vessel's curve, the slow scrape of grit, the surface becoming smooth, the mind learning that patience can be a form of peace. Water. A boat on the Nile at dusk, oars dipping, a soft creak, reeds whispering, the river carrying weight without complaint. Sky. A worker stepping outside at night, looking up, feeling small in a comforting way. The stars offering a steady pattern that does not change because one human heart is tired. Stone. Water. Sky. Each lantern is a gentle repetition, and repetition is how sleep is invited. If your body wants guidance, let it come in the simplest way. Let your forehead soften. Let your eyes rest heavy. Let your cheeks loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Let your shoulders sink into the bed. Let your chest rise and fall slowly. Let your belly become soft. Let your hands be heavy. Let your legs release. If the mind interrupts, that's okay. The mind is only doing what it learned to do: watch, plan, protect. Tonight, you can thank it softly and then show it the lanterns again. Stone, steady, water, settling, sky, spacious. Sometimes people worry that letting go means losing control, but letting go at night is not losing control. It is returning control to the body's natural wisdom. The body knows how to sleep when it feels safe. And safety could be created by gentle rhythm, by soft imagery, by the steady presence of a voice moving like waves. So we keep looping. Stone. The seam closes softly. The lid rests. The box remains. No need to open. No need to prove. Only rest. Water. Ripples thin and vanish. Stillness returns. The basin holds the quiet like a bowl holding moonlight. Sky. The stars watch without asking anything from you. The pyramid stands like a dark lullaby against the horizon. Stone, water, sky. Now the loops become slower. Stone, water, sky. And as they slow, your own thoughts slow too. Perhaps you feel the heaviness of your blanket more clearly now. Perhaps you notice how your breathing is deeper than it was. Perhaps your hands are warm. Perhaps your feet are cooling. These small sensations are signs that the body is shifting into night mode, letting go of the day's tension. If you want a gentle question to drift with, not to answer, only to float, here it is. If the night could place one kind thought into your mind before you sleep, what would you want it to be? You do not have to decide. The night is already offering one kind thought simply by being here. You have done enough for today. Stone, water, sky. One more loop, even softer, like a whisper in a dark room. Stone, cool, steady, holding. Water, still, reflective, settling. Sky, wide, quiet, forgiving. Here, no one rests alone. Even when you close your eyes, you are held by the same ancient rhythm that held workers and craftsmen, riverboats and stargazers, stone chambers and desert winds. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below, when you wake or when you feel ready. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. In the next and final part, we will step out of the tunnels one last time, let the lanterns dim, and allow the story to close like a door that does not click, only settles, until you drift fully into sleep. The lanterns have been glowing for a while now, and you may feel the warmth of them inside you, quiet images that do not ask for effort. Stone, water, sky. They circle gently like slow fireflies in a dark garden, and the mind begins to understand that nothing urgent is coming next. So the story lowers its voice. Imagine that we are back on the plateau, but farther from the monuments now, as if we have walked beyond the last echo of footsteps. The pyramids remain behind us as dark silhouettes, and ahead there is only open sand and the wide, patient night. The wind moves across the ground in a steady hush, smoothing the dune crests the way a hand smooths a sheet. We take one more slow breath together, the kind that feels like a long exhale after a long day. In and out. And as you breathe, picture that the desert is breathing too, not with lungs, but with space, expanding, settling, expanding, settling. Somewhere in the distance, the Nile keeps its slow promise, carrying moonlight on its back. Somewhere under the sand, chambers keep their cool stillness, and stone vessels keep their smooth curves. Somewhere beneath ancient architecture, water waits without impatience. And somewhere, right where you are, a room holds you. Your room might have city sounds or country silence, a soft fan, a distant car, the faint creak of a building. Whatever it has, let it be part of the night instead of a disturbance. The desert had its wind, the Nile had its reeds. Your night has its own small soundtrack, and it can be gentle too. If you can, notice the simplest comfort available, the weight of the blanket, the support of the pillow, the way the bed receives you without judgment. Those are quiet forms of stone. Those are your own steady foundations. Now, without adding anything new, we let the images return once more, fainter this time, like a dream that is already drifting away. Stone. The seam where lid meets base, closing softly, not as a lock, but as a resting place. Water, the still basin, holding reflections, letting ripples thin and disappear. Sky, the scattered stars, steady and spacious, making room for every tired thought to fade. As those images soften, you may notice that your mind is not gripping them as tightly. That is good. Sleep does not need you to hold on. Sleep comes when the hands unclench, when the jaw loosens, when the eyes stop searching for meaning and simply accept the dark as safe. If your thoughts try to rise again, if a worry taps at the edge of your attention, treat it like a small visitor at a quiet door. You don't have to invite it in, you can simply acknowledge it and then let it wait outside until morning. Tonight, the door is closing gently. This is what I love about the ancient world at night. It reminds us that the most powerful things do not need to hurry. Granite did not rush to become smooth. The river did not rush to reach the sea. The stars did not rush to appear. And you do not need to rush to fall asleep. Sometimes we make sleep difficult by chasing it. We check the clock. We negotiate with our mind. We try to push away thoughts as if pushing away waves, but waves return. Stone, on the other hand, teaches another approach, not force, but steadiness. You can let the waves wash while you remain grounded. So if you feel awake, that is okay. If you feel sleepy, that is okay. Either way, you are doing the one thing you need to do. You are resting in a safe rhythm. Here, no one rests alone. Even when the room is dark and the world feels distant, there is a quiet community of listeners, people who also lay down at night and search for calm. Think of them as lanterns too, scattered across different cities and different time zones, each one small and warm. Your presence among them matters. It makes this corner of the night feel kinder. If you ever feel lonely in the dark, remember this. The past is full of evenings like yours. A worker in Giza once lay down after a long day and listened to wind. A boatman on the Nile once closed his eyes and trusted the current. A craftsperson once stopped polishing stone and let the night take over. Their rooms were different, their beds were simpler, but the feeling was the same, the relief of being allowed to stop. Now the story begins to move away from images and toward quietness itself. The lanterns dim. The desert night becomes a soft blur, like the last scene of a film fading to black. The sound becomes thinner, like footsteps drifting down a hallway. The light becomes smaller, like a candle turning into a single ember. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are like the desert's own footprints. In the daytime, many feet pass and the sand remembers them sharply. But at night, wind arrives like mercy. It does not erase your day with anger. It simply smooths grain by grain until the surface is kinder. The marks become softer, the hard edges disappear, and the sand becomes ready to receive a new morning when it comes. If the mind brings up a list, things to do, things to fix, things you wish you had said differently, let the list become a line written on sand. Watch the wind pass over it. Watch the letters blur. Watch them fade. You are not losing your life. You are only letting the night do what it is meant to do. Quiet the surface. Sometimes we think we need to earn rest. We imagine rest as a reward, as something that must be deserved by finishing everything. But the ancient night sky never asked anyone to earn it. It simply covered the villages, the temples, the boats, the quarries. It covered the joyful and the worried. It covered the young and the old. It covered everyone equally, like a blanket of darkness stitched with stars. And tonight it covers you too. So if there is any part of you that feels guilty for stopping, let that guilt loosen. You can tell it gently that you will return to life in the morning. For now, you are allowed to step out of the stream and sit on the bank. If you want another image to hold, here is one. A small lamp in a worker's home turned down to a gentle glow. Outside, the desert is wide. Inside, the room is simple. A jug sits near the wall. A piece of bread rests on a cloth. A tired person lies down and does not think about monuments or mysteries. They think about the comfort of being horizontal, the relief of not needing to stand. There is no audience in the dark, no scorecard, no one counting your productivity. Only you and the quiet and a voice that will fade soon. And maybe, before the voice fades, it can offer you one more soft question, only to drift with like a feather. If your heart could be lighter tomorrow, what would you place down tonight? You don't need words. You can answer with a feeling, a loosening, a sigh, a softening of the hands. Now let the question dissolve and let the lanterns dissolve with it. Stone becomes a shadow, water becomes a hush, sky becomes a deep, gentle blue-black behind closed eyelids. The story is almost done speaking. It will not yank you awake with a sudden ending. It will simply walk backward, quietly, leaving you with space. As we prepare to close, I want to remind you of something simple and true. Sleep is not a place you have to travel to. It is already inside you, like a room you have visited many times. The door is familiar, the handle is warm. You only need to stop holding it open. So let the door settle, in and out. Let your breathing be the gentle guide until part 12 closes softly tonight. The door has been settling for a while now, quietly, as if it knows the shape of your rest. And in this last part, we do not open anything new. We only soften what remains, the way the desert wind softens footprints, the way still water smooths itself after a ripple. Imagine the night again, one final time, as a wide, calm scene. Far away, the Nile moves in the dark like a long ribbon of breath. The banks are quiet, the reeds barely stir. A small boat, if it exists at all, glides without urgency, carried by a current that has learned patience over thousands of years. The moon lays a pale path on the surface, and the path trembles and then becomes smooth again. Farther inland, beyond the green edge, the desert begins, open and dry and honest. The sand is cooler now, the heat of the day released and forgotten. The wind is not strong. It is a gentle hush, as if the world is speaking softly so you can sleep. And on the plateau, the pyramids remain, They do not glitter, they do not announce themselves, they simply stand in their dark geometry, calm and unchanged like silent guardians of time. The stars above them are steady, scattered like small lanterns hung in a vast room. Some are bright enough to catch your attention. Others are faint, like thoughts that are already dissolving. If you are still awake, let that be okay. If you are already drifting, let that be okay too. There is no wrong way to be here. Tonight is not a test. Tonight is a place to rest. In your mind's eye, we return for a moment to the cool underground corridors, not to investigate, but to be comforted by their steadiness. The air is mineral and calm. Our light is low and warm, like a small lamp in a quiet home. Stone vessels sit in darkness like sleeping moons. Granite boxes rest in their alcoves, heavy and patient. The seam where lid meets base is still, soft as a breath. That seam is a gentle teacher. It reminds you that your day can close without violence. It reminds you that your mind can pause without solving everything. It reminds you that not every question needs to follow you into the dark. So if there is one thought that keeps tapping at you, you can set it down now. Not forever, only for tonight. Place it beside the granite. Let the stone carry it. Let the corridor keep it cool and quiet until morning. Now, slowly, we step back out of the tunnels again. We feel the air change. We feel the open sky arrive. We feel the spaciousness return. And we let the story become simpler, so simple that it almost becomes silence. Stone. Water. Sky. Stone. The steady weight beneath the world, the quiet promise that something can remain. Water, the gentle motion that carries and renews, the stillness that waits when it is time to wait. Sky, the wide room above you, forgiving and spacious, making enough space for every tired thought to thin and fade. If you'd like, take one slow breath in, and on the exhale, imagine your shoulders dropping a little further. Take another breath in, and on the exhale, imagine your jaw unclenching. Take another breath in, and on the exhale, imagine your hands becoming heavier, as if the blanket is gently pulling them into rest. Somewhere in the ancient workers' village, a lamp has been turned down, a door has been closed, a body has found the floor or a simple bed. Breadcrumbs remain on a cloth. A cup sits empty. The day has ended in the way days should end, quietly, with no need for applause. Someone outside looks up once at the stars. Then they go back in. Then they sleep. You can do the same. You have looked up, in your own way, into a story and a sky. Now you can go back in. Now you can sleep. And if your mind tries to return to tomorrow, you can answer it softly. Not yet. Tomorrow will come as it always does, on its own. You do not need to pull it toward you. You can let it wait at the edge of the night, like a patient visitor, while you rest in the deeper room. Here, no one rests alone. Even if you are in a quiet house, even if the city feels distant, even if you cannot hear another person breathing, you are part of a gentle community. Across many places, other listeners are also letting go, also lowering their shoulders, also searching for that calm pocket where sleep begins. Every one of us is a small lantern, and together we make the dark a little warmer. Before the night fully closes, let us linger a little longer in the slow cinema of these places, the way you might linger on the last scene of a gentle film, because your nervous system enjoys softness. Picture Saqqara at twilight, when the sand looks like a pale blanket laid across the earth. The step pyramid sits in the fading light, calm and simple. You bend to scoop a handful of sand, and it slips between your fingers in a quiet stream. If each grain of sand is a breath of the desert, then the plateau is an endless breathing. Slow, steady, safe. Now imagine our small lantern of light moving across the underground stone once more. It touches a wall and the wall brightens, then dims. It touches a vessel's rim and the rim glows like a thin crescent. It touches polished granite and the stone answers with a soft shimmer, like water that remembers how to reflect. The beam moves like a wave, your breath moves like a wave, and the mind, slowly, learns to move like a wave too. Somewhere beyond the plateau, the Nile continues its old work. It does not need permission, it simply carries season after season. A boat passes under the moon, the oar dips, and there is a soft sound, water accepting wood. The boatman does not hurry, he trusts the current to keep moving even when his eyes close. If your mind has been trying to do everything alone, let this be a gentle reminder. You do not have to push so hard. You can let the night help. You can let the body do what it already knows. Now imagine a worker's home settling into darkness, a low room, a lamp turned down, the faint scent of warm grain. Someone folds a cloth slowly, smoothing it with a palm. The act is not efficient, it is kind. It tells the day you are finished. If you want, let your attention move through your body as if it were a lantern passing through quiet rooms. Begin at the top of your head, let the scalp soften. Smooth the forehead. Let the eyes rest heavy, loosen the cheeks. Unhook the jaw. Let the tongue rest. Let the shoulders drop as if a coat has slipped off. Let the chest rise gently on the inhale and empty a little more on the exhale. Let the belly soften like sand settling after wind. Let the hands become warm and heavy, fingers gently curled, no need to hold anything. Let the legs release, the calves untying, the knees loosening, the feet resting as if they have finally found a cool, comfortable place. Stone, water, sky, stone. The weight beneath you, the bed holding you, the floor holding the bed, the earth holding the floor. A long chain of support, steady and unquestioning. Water, the breath moving in and out, the slow exchange that keeps life gentle. If a thought arrives, let it float like a leaf. If it drifts away, let it drift. You don't have to chase it. Sky, the darkness above you, not empty, but spacious. The room's ceiling, the night beyond the roof, the stars beyond the night. A widening that tells the mind you can stop pressing. One more time, softly. Stone, water, sky. And if sleep comes between those words, let it come. We will not interrupt it. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. When you wake, or whenever you feel ready. A porch under stars, a childhood bedroom, a late-night kitchen light, a road trip through quiet places, a moment when time slowed and you felt safe. These memories are your own ancient artifacts carefully stored. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. A simple note, a soft word, a small kindness you can read later, like a pebble you place in your own pocket. Don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. Here at Ancient Sleep Story, you'll always find gentle history, quiet wonder, and steady companionship. Stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Now the voice will begin to fade, the lanterns dim, the desert wind becomes a softer hush, the river becomes a smoother line, the stars become quieter points of light behind your eyelids, and the stones keep watch. They keep watch over the sleeping corridors under Saqqara. They keep watch over the still water at Abydos. They keep watch over the wide plateau at Giza. They keep watch over every tired traveler who lays down and finally lets the night do its work. In the dark, you do not need to hold yourself up. In the dark, you do not need to carry the whole day. In the dark, you can be held. So let your breath be slow. Let your body be heavy. Let your mind be soft. And if you are already drifting, then drift. If you are already dreaming, then dream. If you are already asleep, then let the story become part of the quiet, like wind moving over sand. Somewhere a small clock ticks, but it can tick without you. Let its sound be distant. Let the room be a quiet shore. Your breath is the tide. Each exhale carries you farther into rest now.
Our story pauses here. Every visual and word you've experienced was assisted by AI, yet guided and perfected by sincere human emotion. We hope this harmony of history and technology has crafted a beautiful dream for you tonight. Let go and drift deep into sleep. Good night.